Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are taking a deeply fascinating journey into Eastern philosophy to explore the evolving relationship between humanity and the divine. We're going to unpack some really rich source texts that analyze a profound shift in how we understand our place in the cosmos. Specifically, we're looking at the transition from Donghak thought to Daesun thought, and focusing on the dynamic between Indo and Sindo, the human way and the divine way. It's a story of human effort, invisible frameworks, and the ultimate quest for cosmic harmony. Let's dive right in.
So think about this for a second. How do we actually bridge the gap between humanity and heaven? For centuries, philosophers and seekers have wrestled with this massive question. Do we just try really hard down here on Earth and, hope the divine notices? Or is there a completely different structural way to interact with the unseen world? That baseline question is exactly what we're exploring today.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap. We'll start with the quest for harmony, move through Donghak's human-centered approach, dive into Daesun and the divine way, unpack yin, yang, and God, talk about resolving resentment, and wrap up with its modern legacy.
Section 1. The Quest for Harmony. Finding our place in the universe.
Okay, to truly understand this philosophical leap, we have to establish our baseline terms. Let's start with Indo, literally translated as the human way. Think of Indo as the visible, human-centered path. It's all about ethics, intentional effort, and fundamentally just doing your absolute best as a human being. For the longest time, this was the primary accepted method for humans to reach upward toward heaven. It relied almost entirely on human moral and physical exertion.
Section 2. Donghak's Human-Centered Path. Doing our best as humans.
Now, the source texts tell us that late 19th century Donghak thought was a huge ideological step forward. They even compare its originality to the French Revolution. But, and this is key, it stayed firmly rooted in Indo. While Donghak definitely emphasizes the heavenly world, it operates strictly within the human scope. It relies heavily on humans communicating with the world simply by doing their best, but it notably lacks a concrete explanation of God's direct role or existence in that process.
It's actually super interesting to contrast these established traditions with what was to come. Take the traditional Confucian view, described as Ge Wenji. It's basically, respect the divine, sure, but keep a respectful distance. You don't just casually approach the gods. But then Daesung thought comes along and introduces a radically different approach. It actively pursues structural change through direct communication and harmony with the divine.
Which brings us to Section 3, Daesun and the Divine Way. Introducing the parallel path.
Enter Sindo, or the divine way. Now, our sources make it clear that Sindo isn't some distant, abstract, magical realm up in the clouds. It's an active, structural blueprint. It consists of the natural laws and the invisible elements that literally constitute heaven and earth. So rather than just crossing our fingers and hoping humans can do enough good deeds to matter, Sindo introduces a structural system of divine partnership that works right alongside us.
So while Donghak focused entirely on Indo, Daesun thought actually expands the whole picture. It doesn't toss out the human path. Instead, it integrates Sindo right alongside Indo. It's a complete reestablishment of the relationship between heaven and earth. We're moving from a framework of human-only effort to a deeply collaborative, parallel track.
The source material frames this perfectly, saying, if you manage matters big and small with Sindo, you will achieve incredible achievements. As soon as your luck turns around, a new foundation will be opened. See, this frames Sindo as a highly practical tool. It isn't just about abstract worship. It's about enacting foundational, structural change in the real world.
Section 4. Yin, Yang, and God. The mechanics of the new paradigm.
Okay, this is where it gets really fascinating. How do humans and gods actually interact here? Well, the text set up this unexpected dualism. In this framework, humans are positioned as the yang, right? They are the active, visible force carrying out the human way, or Indo. The gods, or the divine, operate as the yin, the receptive, hidden, structural blueprint that is the divine way, or Shindo. That might be surprising if you're used to thinking of gods as the active force and humans as passive, but here, humans are the fiery, active yang.
And this leads right into a fundamental rule of this philosophy. The original text explicitly states, only after yin and yang are in harmony with each other is there a way for change. You literally cannot have structural transformation in the world using just human effort, and you can't have it using just a divine blueprint either. The active human yang and the hidden divine yin have to be perfectly harmonized.
Then the sources drop this incredible philosophical claim. Only when you know how to use yin and yang can you be called human. I mean, wow, think about the weight of that statement. In this view, true humanity isn't just about your biological existence. It is only achieved when you fully understand and participate in this dual cooperation between the visible human effort and the invisible divine structure.
Section 5. Resolving resentment together. The goal of this union.
So why does all this structural shifting actually matter? Well, this dual pathway definitely isn't just some abstract theory. According to the text, it's a highly practical method designed to resolve deep societal grievances, which is a concept known as Heiwan. By harmonizing gods and humans, the goal is to transition the world from a state of constant bitter opposition into a state of true harmonious coexistence, or sang-sang. The texts even argue that Western modernity and older philosophies fundamentally failed because they just didn't understand how to resolve these deeply rooted eternal resentments.
And the text is completely uncompromising on how to achieve this healing. It states, regardless of whether it is a big or small matter, grievances must be resolved from the believer. You must resolve your grievances through Shinto, which is another translation of Sindo. It insists that resolving historical, social, and personal antagonism literally requires this invisible divine cooperation. Human diplomacy and Indo alone simply aren't enough to heal the deepest wounds.
Section 6. A Modern Philosophical Legacy. What this means today.
This next quote is just a beautiful, summarizing vision from the texts. I will organize the laws of heaven and earth, harmonize the divine decrees, resolve eternal grudges, establish a path of coexistence. This perfectly encapsulates the ultimate goal we've been talking about, perfectly harmonizing the human way and the divine way to literally reorganize the fabric of how the world operates.
Ultimately, what we're looking at here is a framework that fundamentally redefines human existence by making us active, literal partners with the divine. It doesn't scrap traditional thought like Confucianism or Dong Hak. Rather, it expands upon them to overcome their limitations. It presents this unique, dual-path approach aimed at fostering a truly harmonious relationship between humans, the natural world, and the divine.
Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We live in a world that mostly relies entirely on Indo, our own visible, often exhausting human effort to solve our massive societal problems. But how might our modern world change if we actually applied this balanced mindset? What if we sought to align our everyday actions with a deeper, invisible, structural harmony? It's a pretty profound lens through which to view our modern challenges. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep exploring.